I'd like to call to order the Regional Planning Commission business meeting for Thursday, October the 13th, 2022, and now it's 6:30. And as we always start, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask that Ms. Karcher lead us in the pledge, please. Thank you very much. Sarah, I'll come to you now for the roll call and determination of quorum.
Mr. Peterman?
Here.
Mr. Servan?
Present.
Mrs. Karcher?
Here.
Mr. Galvary?
Here.
Mr. Mills?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Jester?
Here.
So you have 7 present. You do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. You all have in front of you tonight's agenda. If there's no additions, deletions, or changes, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mr. Servan?
Yes.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvary?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 7 yeas in favor of approving tonight's agenda.
You also in your packet had the minutes from September the 8th, 2022. I assume you've all had time to read them. If there's no changes or additions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion. Sarah, call the commission, please.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mr. Servan?
Yes.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvary?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 7 yeas in favor of approving the minutes of September 8th.
Thank you again. Also, you see the levy court action on our commission recommendations. If you have any questions, please contact staff. Now we'll go right into new business. First on new business tonight is C-22-03, Blackburn Solar, request for conditional use approval of a community solar farm located inside the growth zone overlay district. They did a nice presentation. They also sent out some very understandable quotes and answering some of the questions that we've had, and an interesting design for the first time with those new type of panels. So is there any other questions or anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this particular application.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Garvey?
I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommend conditional approval of application C-22-03, a conditional use for community energy generating facility located inside the Growth Zone Overlay District. This is based on Exhibit A, staff recommendation report dated October 6, 2022, Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated October 6, 2022, and findings of fact that A, the subject site is zoned AC, agricultural conservation, and subchapter 205-48 and 205-397.9 permit community energy generating facility as a conditional use. B, the location is appropriate and not in conflict with the comprehensive plan. C, the public health, safety, and general welfare will not be adversely affected. Pursuant to Chapter 205 of the Kent County Code and pursuant to Delaware Code Subchapter 4802, the Commission has reviewed the application, and furthermore, as part of this approval, the application shall comply with all staff and agency requirements as described in the October 6, 2022 staff recommendations report and the following conditions of approval. The applicant shall comply with all conditions per subchapter 205-397.9 of the Kent County Code. B, failure to comply with the conditions of approval or applicable regulations can result in the revocation of the permit issued for this conditional use and the revocation of the conditional use itself.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please call the commission, sir.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Servan?
Yes to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Galvary?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Jester?
Yes to approve, and good luck with your project.
So you have 7 yeas in favor of recommending conditional approval for application C-2203.
Now we're going to number 2 on our new business, C-22-04, West Evans Community Initiative LLC, request for conditional use approval of a community solar farm located inside the growth zone overlay district. Once again, they did a fine presentation, pretty much answered all of our questions with looking what they're doing. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion. What you want to do?
I'll move.
Mr. Mills?
I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommend conditional approval of application C-22-04, a conditional use of the community energy generating facility located inside the growth zone overlay district. This is based on Exhibit A, staff recommendation report dated October the 6th, 2022, Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated October the 6th, 2022, and the findings of the facts that A, the subject site is zoned AR, agricultural residential, and subsection 205-64 and 205-397.9 permits community energy generating facility as a conditional use. The location is appropriate and not in conflict with the comprehensive plan. Public health, safety, and general welfare will not be adversely affected. Pursuant to Chapter 205 of the Kent County Code and pursuant to 9 Del C subsection 4802, the Commission has reviewed the application, and furthermore, as part of this approval, the applicant shall comply with all staff and agency requirements as described in October the 6th, 2022, staff recommendation report and the following conditions of approval. A, the applicant shall comply with all the conditions per subsection 205-397.9 of the Kent County Code. Failure to comply with the conditions of approval or applicable regulations can result in ratification of any permits issued for this conditional use and ratification of the conditional use itself.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Servon?
Yes to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Galvery?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis?
Yes to approve for motion.
Mr. Jester?
Yes to approve.
So you have 7 yeas in favor of recommending conditional approval of application C-2204.
Thank you very much, and good luck with your project. Next on our new business tonight is CZ-22-06, LC-22-17, Barlow Robert C. Request to amend the zoning map from BG General Business to RS1 Single Family Residential to BG General Business located inside the Growth Zone Overlay District. It was put forth last week and the presentation made. I now would entertain a motion for this particular project. Denise?
I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommend approval of ordinance LC 22-17, amending the zoning map from RMH, which is residential manufactured home, and BG, general business, to BN neighborhood business, located inside the growth zone overlay district, and this is based on Exhibit A, staff recommendation report dated October 6, 2022, Exhibit B, public hearing testimony dated October 6, 2022, and the findings of fact that A, the neighborhood business classification is in keeping with the character of the surrounding area. B, map 2-A of the 2018 comprehensive plan designates the area as an employment center. C, transportation facilities, water and sewage systems, storm drainage systems, schools, and fire suppression facilities are adequate to serve the proposed use are either in existence or programmed for construction. D, the neighborhood business classification would eliminate the split zoning of the site. And E, additional neighborhood commercial uses would complement and support the nature of this area along South DuPont Boulevard, which is predominantly commercial.
I
Second.
have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Servon?
Yes to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvary?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis?
Yes to approve for promotion.
Mr. Jester?
Yes to approve.
So you have 7 yeas to recommend approval of ordinance LC 2217.
Thank you very much, and once again, good luck with your project. Thank you. Next on the agenda tonight is application number S22-01, site plan title Dollar General, Felton. Owner is Marilyn G. Alexander and David E. Alexander, 61 Sierra Circle, Felton, Delaware, 19943. Applicant is PVT Contracting, LLC, care of Robert McCollum, 400 Penn Center Boulevard, Building 4, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15235. Engineer is Becker Morgan Group Incorporated, 309 South Governors Avenue, Dover, Delaware, 19904. Present zoning district is BG, general business. Present use is vacant. Proposed use is a 10,640 square foot retail store. Relation to the growth zone is outside. Levy Court District is the 6th, Mr. Howe. School District is Caesar Rodney. Fire District is Felton, Station 48. Size of site is 1.54 acres, plus or minus. Water is on-site well. Sewer is on-site septic. Location is on the southeast corner of Willow Grove Road, Delaware Route 10, and Sandtown Road, County Road 56, and approximately 1,160 feet east of Sandalwood Drive, County Road 208A, west of Felton. Is there somebody on the phone to represent this project?
Yes, sir. This is Mr. Jonathan Street with Becker Morgan Group from Dover, Delaware. How are you this evening?
Very good. And I think our attorney's also on the phone, and I think he'll either swear or affirm you.
Sounds good?
Sir, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir, go ahead with your presentation.
Fantastic. I'll try and make this short and sweet, and if you guys can just advance the slides when I ask, that'll be fine. You guys have the location. Next slide. We're right in the corner, right in across from Sandtown Landfill, right on the corner of Sandtown Road and Willow Grove Road. Next slide. And as you know, it's a 1.5 acre site. We're proposing a Dollar General for the corner. These Dollar Generals are a tick larger than what you're used to seeing. They are actually providing a more local grocer type service to more rural communities. And this is what they're proposing here. This is one of their key sites that we've been trying to get through for the last couple months. If you go to the next slide, please. This is a updated graphic of the site. We're providing the parking required and the landscaping required for the zoning here. Next slide. And this is the upgraded facade. You've got a brick and stone frontage. We've got banding and window treatments on each of the sides, and then we've got some alternate colored downspouts really to break up that back wall of the building itself. Next slide. And last, we are in receipt of staff's report and mostly agree with staff's report with two exceptions. The signage, I think staff has recommended we use a more monument ground sign. We're requesting, and it's allowed by code, we're allowed to have a more elevated pylon sign, or what we usually refer to as pylon sign. We have more concerns about the visual barrier that monument sign placed on that corner as you approach Sandtown Road, or as you're on Sandtown approaching Willow Grove Road. We'd prefer the sign to be elevated as to not block the views of oncoming traffic from Sandtown Road. The second exception is that we would respectfully request that the architecture that we submitted be approved as submitted. Staff had recommended some stone banding that's across the front be wrapped around that north side or the Willow Grove side of the building. In my conversations with both the developer and staff, that banding is a little bit harder to to provide as a separate piece because of the system that's used on the building itself. We can't just simply add that banding to those sides. If we did, then we have to basically upgrade the entire side, and then the building starts to become not balanced, from between side to side. And we'd much rather prefer for the architecture to be approved as submitted. With that, staff recommended conditional approval. We don't have any other issues or comments about staff's comments. We will comply with them, with the exception of those two exceptions.
And we also understand about the waiver and the sidewalks that the staff recommends that we go along with the waiver. Is that what you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I want to make that part of the record. Do you have a picture of the type of sign that you're proposing compared to what staff's asking for?
I thought about it after my presentation. I was trying to keep it simple. But basically, I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, we don't know exactly what you're talking about according to staff recommendations and what you're saying. So we want to make sure it's appropriate for that corner, because it doesn't show on your drawing where you're located. Am I correct?
No, it does. So if you go back two slides maybe, one. Yep. So there's a little yellow dot. So the elevated signs have to be 25 feet off of the property line because of the setbacks based on the size. So that little yellow line all the way on the north side of the parking is actually that elevated sign. So they would kind of sit back off the road. But the monument sign or the ground sign that staff is referring to is basically a sign that sits on the ground. It's like a 4x8 sheet of plywood, basically. It's 32 square feet that would be placed on the ground. And that can actually move closer to the road. And we feel that moving it further away and keeping the elevated sign, it's elevated only to a maximum of 35 feet. So it's not something that's going to stand that you're going to see too terribly far. But we're looking at the view of the oncoming traffic from Sandtown Road, looking at the oncoming traffic on Willow Grove Road to kind of protect that and to keep that not that we don't want that barrier to be in its way. But if Planning Commission wants a monument sign, wants a ground sign, we're not gonna fight you too hard on it.
Well, I understand that, and I understand about the architectural design, kind of going over that and all.
Okay.
Our store pretty much has a picturesque use no matter where it's located, even the ones I've seen located recently. I do have a couple questions for staff before we move on. The store that we approved there at Woodside, that's a dollar store also. Did they have a sign like the ground monument or the elevated sign? Do you remember?
I don't recall off the top of my head if they agreed to the monument sign. It's a recommendation we routinely make.
So I assume you probably can live with the architectural design, but if the sign is more type of a deal that we need to address, and I'm going to open up the commission here pretty soon.
I mean, I would suggest the sign would have more impact, right? A 35-foot high pylon sign versus a monument sign. And while I certainly understand not wanting to block traffic, regardless of the allowable setback, you can't put a sign within the site triangle anyway.
You like corner there and all with the setbacks, very aware of that.
I would suggest the sign is probably more impactful than that facade.
I'll open up to the commission for their suggestions or any comments. Any of the commissioners have any comments, or Mr. Davis on the phone?
No, I don't have no comments.
Denise, you have any comments? You're usually our sign person on the commission. So, I mean, I've heard this before many a time, so.
Well, especially since it's not neon, that's right there, it's good. No, I understand what Sarah's saying, and I'm also looking at the location, and I don't see that location as being very interfering with the corner traffic. I just don't. Am I correct?
That should not interfere with traffic, and certainly when the sign is actually placed, it has to be outside of the site triangle.
Okay.
Mr. Garvey.
For Sarah, just for my own information on this, the rationale behind the sign that we propose is what?
It's primarily, I mean, it's a fairly rural area. And a pylon sign tends to would have much more of an impact on the landscaping, on the landscape of the area. So our suggestion, it's in keeping with our comprehensive plan, would for it to be a bit more low profile, given the nature of the area.
Okay, thank you.
So that would be the monument sign that was in the recommendations that
Correct.
you have seen, that we have talked about.
Yes.
And evidently, the engineer, he's not on there right now, but I guess you don't have great difficulty with whatever way we do go. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, sir. That is correct. The architecture tends to provide more of an issue than the sign does. I don't even need this much of a discussion about the sign. If you guys want a monument, that's fine. We'll provide a monument. We'll have any problem doing it.
Yeah, I certainly wish you would have had another picture. We might have been able to explore your suggestions a little bit better than just seeing the one that we do have and not seeing anything that you would suggested. Next time, I would suggest that you further your presentations.
I can appreciate it. I tried to keep it more abbreviated than most.
Yeah, that
I
does.
could be up here for 10 minutes talking to you guys if you want.
That does give you points with us when you get short on your presentations, because sometimes.
I can appreciate
If
it.
not, okay, I think Denise has a question for Sarah.
Just, I'm thinking if, since the facade isn't going to go around the corner there, would some plantings there perhaps be a compromise?
Landscaping always softens. Landscaping always sort of softens the impact of a building. I don't know if the applicant would be amenable to adding a few trees.
We have plenty of trees left over to move and shift around that site. We have no problem with providing those trees along that side of the building to dampen the effect of the side of the building. That's fine.
Well, I'm even thinking decent bushes closer to the building itself is what
Sure.
in my mind.
Sure.
Yeah,
Certainly.
that takes away the warehouse look to that side.
Certainly.
I think we have confidence in staff that after we make these recommendations, and they're great people to work with, I'm sure that you'll be able to work it out after our recommendations go through and you get ready to build. I assume you're going to try to get this in place fairly quickly?
Yes, sir. They usually try and do that.
I thank you very much. Any more comments? I'll entertain a motion then for this particular project. Denise?
I move that the Regional Planning Commission grant conditional approval of application S-22-01, a site plan for a retail store located outside the Growth Zone Overlay District. This is based on Exhibit A, staff recommendation report dated October 13th, 2022, and the findings of fact that A, the site is Zone BG, general business, in which variety stores are permitted uses per section 205-169 permitted uses, and that B, the plan is compliant with the comprehensive plan. Pursuant to Chapters 187 and 205 of the Kent County Code and pursuant to 9 Delaware Subchapter 4802 and Subchapters 4811, the Commission has reviewed the application and the October 13th, 2022 staff recommendation report, and furthermore, as part of this approval, the applicant shall maintain compliance with all requirements and recommendations of the staff recommendation report, including but not limited to A, that the waiver from Subchapter 187-60, sidewalks requiring frontage and internal access sidewalks is granted. B, the applicant shall be limited to one detached sign and shall be built of the monument style to be set back at least 5 feet from the front property line. The top of the sign should not be taller than 6 feet above grade and have a maximum size of 32 square feet. Detached signage shall remain static in nature, no electronic variable signage permitted. C, the stone along the bottom of the building facade along Sandtown Road is as, excuse me. Wait a minute, which one's Sandtown? No, along Sandtown Road is as in the plan, and along Willow Grove Road Yeah, along Willow Grove Road, there will be plantings, probably of a bush-type variety, to decrease the warehouse appearance of that side that faces the road. Willow Grove Road, building facade, a bike rack large enough to accommodate at least 4 bicycles shall be added to the site plan near the entrance to the building, and a final plan shall be approved within 24 months of preliminary plan approval, and construction shall commence within 18 months of final plan approval in accordance with Subchapter 187-41C, or the plan will be considered expired. And the final plan must meet all requirements of both Subchapter 187 and 205 of the Kent County Code and all items in the final plan column of Appendix D of Subchapter 187.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Servon?
Yes to approve as per the motion.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Galvry?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis?
Absolutely, I approve this. I think that's a great location, and it's going to be a great service to the rural area out there because they really lack, grocery stores and what this company does provide. So I'm very happy it's passing.
Mr. Jester?
Yes to approve, and as Mr. Davis said, I think it's going to add to that area greatly.
So you have 7 yeas in favor of granting conditional approval of application S2201.
Thank you very much, and good luck with your project.
Thank you very much, and you guys have a great night. Sorry I couldn't be there in person.
Thank you, sir. We're now going to public comment. I don't see anybody in the seats. Is there anybody online, Mark? Public online? Have no public comment. Any more commission comments? Hearing none, I'll then entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the commission, please.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Servon?
Yes to adjourn.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Galvry?
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Davis?
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Jester?
Yes to adjourn. Thank you all, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.